Hi, and welcome to the seminar for Tatos Inc. New Operating System by Alexandria Lofton from CTI 140-00Y. The topics that we will be discussing today are the backgrounds of Tatos Inc., issues with Windows that you may incur while using the software for your company, why I chose the operating system, and the background information for my chosen operating system, why I think this operating system will be a great fit for our company, issues that we may incur with using this operating system, applications that are installed on the operating system, and applications that I have installed myself that I think that are important. And finally, I will give a live demonstration of my chosen operating system. Tatos Inc. is a processing facility that turns potatoes into potato-based snacks. We currently have 8 departments: a finance department, administration, sales, shipping and receiving, main processing, research and development, facility maintenance, and an IT department. We have a file server, an exchange server, an application server, all of which are from the 2019 Windows system. We have been using Windows as our operating system, but due to a subscription needed for Windows 11, we are assessing other operating systems that we could use for our organization. Issues that we have incurred with Microsoft. Windows has been using Microsoft for decades, but there are some drawbacks. Now, since the Windows 11 update, Windows 11, you have to have a CPU within the last 3 years, and you have to have a TPM security chip. The security chip is what stores cryptographic keys and verifies the integrity of your system. And you also must be able to perform a secure boot. This also verifies the integrity of the system by making sure it only boots using the software trusted by the manufacturer. Next, you must have a hard drive space of 64 gigabytes, which is needed for a successful installation. You must also disable your antivirus when installing Windows 11, or it will not install appropriately. To me, this can cause problems for a company because this leaves your devices vulnerable to threats due to your antivirus being discontinued. Also, it has been reported that internet speeds have become slow after the upgrade. Windows issued a warning themselves stating that Windows 11 could slow down your internet, and most users reported that is exactly what it did. Imagine being at work on a busy day trying to get out multiple orders through our production and distribution centers, but the connection is so slow it's becoming a hindrance. Windows 11 has a memory leak, which causes File Explorer to eat RAM, which also causes slowdowns in the system. My chosen operating system is Linux Mint, I apologize. And the edition that I chose was Cinnamon. Cinnamon is, you can use it in the 32-bit or the 64-bit CPUs. Linux Mint is a free open source desktop environment for Linux users and Unix-like. This software was written using C, JavaScript, and Python. With deployment, you do not need any coding. Linux Mint comes pre-installed with basic applications such as LibreOffice. This platform can also be used on both laptops and desktops. Linux Mint is based on Ubuntu and Debian, which is not Fedora or Windows based. Linux Mint also comes in Mate Edition, which is a more stable version than Cinnamon, and an XFCE edition, which is the most stable out of all the three. Why I feel we should choose Linux Mint Cinnamon edition. I feel that we should choose this edition because of the ease of use. You only need beginner experience to use it. The ease of installation. I myself installed Linux Mint, its Cinnamon Edition, on my virtual machine, and it's actually very easy to install, being that I've never used a Linux desktop or anything like it. And it really was just um, you really just read and make sure that you agree to all of the terms and conditions, and then you just hit next through each slide until you get to the end. And once it installs, you just click on the CD screen and you install the Linux Mint, and you have your new software. Linux Mint Cinnamon Edition requires little maintenance as well. It's community driven, so you can send feedback to Linux Mint to help improve their software. Issues that we may incur using this software are we don't have a device manager, which most of the time Windows users like, because if you run into an error with different devices, you can go there and see if maybe you need to update to different softwares, whether or not the system is not reading that it has the software, that it has the device installed. So this may come as a hindrance. There has been forums that have posted that there are applications that you can install that are like the Windows device driver, but device manager, but I have not myself tested any of these out. We also can run into compatibility issues with certain devices and programs due to it being a Linux system. It does not always play well with different softwares. And you also have to manually update your system. So unlike Windows that pushes updates to your system, you have to actually go on Linux and check and see if there's updates available and then download them to your system. Applications that are installed on the system is this is Software Manager. Here's a screenshot of it. This is where you go to download content for your desktop. This is the example of Play Store or App Store and even Apple Store version for Linux. To me, this is a very easy to use software because you don't have to set up an account in order to download softwares that you would like. I use this to download the Zoom and the Adobe Reader and other applications that I installed on my virtual machine. Firefox is the main web browser for Linux. It has more privacy and security than Google Chrome. It's open source as well, so you can modify its code as long as you adhere to the licensing policy. And it does not use as much CPU and RAM as Google Chrome, which can cause other applications to slow down. LibreOffice is the default version of what we would call Microsoft 365. LibreOffice is nice to me because it's free and it's open source. It was created in 2011. It supports documents from other Office suites, such as Microsoft Office. It's available for use on Linux system, Windows, Android, and Mac devices. Applications that are included are the Libre Writer, which is what we refer to as Microsoft Word, Libre Calc, which is Microsoft Excel, Libre Impress, which is what we would call Microsoft PowerPoint, Libre Draw, which is Microsoft Visio Publisher, and Adobe Photoshop. There's also Base, which is what we would call Microsoft Access. Mozilla Thunderbird is the email client um, for Linux systems, but it does not come pre-installed, so you have to install this from the software manager. FlameShot is a open source screenshot tool that I decided to download onto the virtual machine. I feel like it is nice because you can take screenshots such as snippet as we use in Windows, and this allows you to take screenshots of things and send them. You can send it through email, anything that you feel is important. I also downloaded Teams for Linux. Teams is another Microsoft product that comes to Linux. You can use this you can access Teams using either a Microsoft key, a Microsoft account, or another organization account. Since Tatos already has a Teams account, it can be imported if we decide to change over to Linux Mint. I also downloaded Adobe Acrobat Reader. To me, this is a very useful feature because you can read and sign PDF documents all from one platform. This is a Microsoft product as well, but it's usable only in its platforms and can be installed directly from the software manager. This is my virtual machine settings that I chose. I chose 2 CPU processors, 8 gigabytes of RAM, which I allocated to the VM, 6 gigabytes of hard drive space, which is allocated, but I only use 14 gigabytes total for this installation. And the software that I installed was Linux Cinnamon.iso. Now here is a tour of my virtual machine. So here is my virtual machine. This is Tatos, and I entered my password. And this is my default desktop for my Linux environment. So as you see, as soon as you sign on, this is the desktop that I created for the finance department. This is a make version of Mr. Potato Head. This is our company's name right here. This is the finance department, which is what I'm a part of. Once you click the start menu, this is the default apps that show up. As I was stating, this is LibreOffice. So for example, we'll try LibreOffice Base. Okay, so I'm going to open an existing database file that I selected for this presentation. Okay. So a short little table that I created is similar, like I said, it's similar to Microsoft Excel. So once we click in it, as you see, this is I put one user in here, which is Mr. Scott Neal, put his birthday, his contact number, his address. And if I added more users, I could use the filter feature and every other feature that is available on Excel. So I thought that this would be a great tool. But like I said, it was already pre-installed on the system. Okay. Here is Flame Shot. All right, so as you see, Flame Shot appears here. So for example, if I wanted to take a screenshot of this is my email that I've set up for Thunderbird. All right, so we'll start with Thunderbird since Flameshot is having a couple issues. So this is Thunderbird, which is Microsoft. Which is Linux's email client. It works just like any other email, so you can actually link your email to it. And once you link it, this is actually my Gmail, and I linked it to it. And once you are here, you can actually open up. You can send an email, you can open other emails and respond. It works just like any other one that we have. Also, I installed an application called Planner, which is what you can use to plan out, day-to-day activities or monthly activities for your system. So, for example, I made two tasks. I made one task. This one is called update bank account information for employees. And I said that it should take 3 days to do. So I put a start and a finish date. And it even asks me how much of it I have completed. And then I can actually link something else to it, which is called update tax information. So when I use this and I open it, they'll work together. So I think this is a great application. And then down here, like I said, I installed Zoom and Teams. Both of these are great tools because you can video chat, you can message. A lot of companies use Teams for it. We use Teams as well, but this is Teams for Linux. So, like I said, it can easily be merged into the Linux software. This right here is Firefox web browser. That I have actually that's the default web browser for Linux. This is my file explorer. As you see, I have a homepage, and with my homepage, this is my department folder. This is my desktop. I actually have documents inside of it, which is Tatos Inc. This is our have certain documents that I can show you. They're in my home folder, which is as you saw. Let's see. Okay, so here we go. So in the finance department, I have a W-2 form. I have a direct deposit form for Tatos. And like I said, all of these are Word documents, but they're able to be used with the LibreOffice converter. As you see, I made this using Microsoft, but I've easily merged it into the LibreOffice. This is actually a PDF, which I can open in Adobe Reader. And once I open it, I can easily sign it and just send it back without having to print it. So I thought that would be a great tool. Let's see here. So here, Flameshot is finally working. So I'm going to take a screenshot here. And then I'm going to choose an app that I want to use to open. Actually, no. So there we go. And then I can save this capture just like snippet. And it will save to my pictures. So I'm going to say screenshot. And there we go. My Flameshot screenshot has been saved. So this is a tour of my chosen software. I think it's, like I said, it's very easy to use. Also has a search bar up here for if you want to search for anything. Changing backgrounds is very easable. Okay. Here is my citations page. Well, thank you for joining my presentation.